All right, this is Wednesday, July 31st, and we are
Oh my God.
we're we're witnessing the meltdown of Donald Trump. Uh Whoa. This NABG conference was something. BJ. This is National Association of Black Journalists. My goodness gracious.
Just a second, I'm getting the clip up here. Let's see.
Okay, so this just happened a couple hours ago, maybe.
Yeah, like maximum an hour and a half ago. Yeah.
Trump was interviewed by three black women on stage, and I mean, by now you all have seen it. They absolutely let him have it. They let him have it, and maybe Trump a month ago would have responded differently, but Trump, after Kamala Harris's introduction, after losing in the polls, and after choosing the worst vice president possible.
NBC's John Allen, Brent.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're ready.
Let's go with it. Let's go with it.
Okay, this is the MSNBC opening, and then it's going to go to the clip you want us to hear.
Buck and Michael Hardaway. Here in studio with me is Julie Roginski, Democratic strategist, co-founder of Lift Our Voices. John, well, how does this fit in to what at least the campaign wanted it to be, which is outreach to black voters?
Well, I mean, sometimes things are billed that way, and it's not actually what appears to be what the campaign or the candidate actually wants. You heard Donald Trump walk in there and immediately start calling the moderator rude. He was setting up a combative atmosphere. Certainly, this could have gone a lot of ways. Anytime there's a reporter interviewing a president, a former president, a presidential candidate, there's some adversarial nature to that. Donald Trump certainly understands that. But he set this up as something that was not just adversarial, but combative. Then he went into things about Kamala Harris's background, saying he didn't know if she was black or Indian, accusing her of at one point claiming to be Indian and then becoming black, as if she couldn't have heritage from multiple parts of the world or multiple races.
You know what, since you bring it up, John, and I'll let you continue, but we have that sound ready to go, so let's play it in case people didn't hear it the first time.
Sure, let's hear the sound.
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She is always identified as a black woman.
I respect either one. I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear.
Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. Ridiculous. Whoa. So that to go to a conference full of black people, and then
where was he? Where was he?
The National Association of Black Journalists conference. Yeah, to go to a conference full of black people for whatever the profession is, knowingly, and then to attack the identity of a black person and their self-proclaimed identity as black is wild. It is completely wild. But that was after he attacked the first person to ask him a question, and then insulted the entire event, saying it started late and that their equipment was bad. That is not with some sort of plan. Okay, this guy.
Okay.
This not a plan. It's not a plan. What I think what tends to happen with people that are seen as an elevated status in America is that we think that they're smarter than us. And I don't know how many different ways Donald Trump has to prove to us he's not smarter than we are, and that this guy reacts emotionally a lot. He does it every night on Truth Social. We can see it live. I think that what happened with him is that the pressure from this campaign, the removal of Biden and Kamala coming in, and her blowing him away, fundraising, volunteer support, polls. I think and then last night, and we'll talk about this with some more depth, but the way that she showed up in Georgia, which is a state that up until this point we had written off. When I say we, I mean the Democrats, liberals, common power. We'd said we need to fall back to other states because we think we're going to lose Georgia. For her to fill up a stadium in Georgia and have that raucous of an event, which he loves. That's his thing. He wants to have a rally that big. He wants to have people clapping. She stole his thunder basically in a state that he thought he was going to win, and is resurgent. And then stood on stage and insulted him. He arrives at this conference completely shaken. Completely shaken. This is not some measured response. This dude is highly emotional and he's lashing out and he's doing the exact wrong thing at the wrong time. This is the collapse of Donald Trump.
It is. I agree with you, my friend, that it is the collapse of Donald Trump. But I am not willing at all to take the position that this was just him emotionally responding in the moment, or feeling overwhelmed by the fact that he's now losing, and it's clear that he is losing. Okay, I'm not willing to kind of give him this sense of like, oh, and you're not being kind to him. You're just saying he lost it, and he loses it all the time. And I agree, he does lose it. However, the dude has, all the way back to the 1970s, an outspoken, vitriolic, visceral level racial hostility to Black Americans, especially. Yep. Okay, like this is not like coded. This is not hidden. He doesn't put it in his back pocket. He has lived it and worn it and wrote it to the White House. All right, wrote it to the White House. So I believe that after yesterday's Vice President Harris's incredible rally, which we're going to step back to in a minute here, because Charles is going to drop some wisdom and knowledge on us here. But after that rally yesterday in Atlanta, I believe he went into this space with a very intentional strategy to provoke, to anger, and to rile up his folks, his base, so that, because these clips go viral to everywhere, right? To rile them up so that they're like, he's the great racist in chief. That's what he is. And his people like this. And so, like, who is it? I don't know, Eddie Glaudet or somebody else, who said there's only two explanations we have for his supporters. Either they're racist like he is, or they don't care that he's racist. Okay. And so the fact is that for him, maybe, right, both, but at least one. And so to me, his flailing, his losing, all the fear and anger and stress that you're talking about, to me, produced a measured, intentional approach that he came in sitting on the stage with 3 African-American women in front of an audience of African-American journalists. Like, this is the moment that a guy like him actually feeds upon, in my view.
Yeah, I think so did he decide that he was going to go in there and blow up this interview as for his base? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so, because I think that strategically the Republican Party, including the Supreme Court, is actually trying to moderate right now. Right? So if he was only about his base, what we would see is he would double down on abortion. He would double down on everything, actually, but abortion is one. And what you see him actually doing is moderating. He's like, I don't know, he's distancing himself from extreme
from Project
views.
2025. He's trying to get away from Project 2025.
That's right. He's trying to shut down Project 2025. So if his thought was, I am going to feed my base, then he would be doing it everywhere. I don't think so. I think there is no design to this. This is him lashing out, and the same way that we've seen him do anyways. And I think that we tend to assign design to people that are in these higher levels. And this guy was as surprised as we were when he won the election in 2016. And he's not a genius. He's not a genius, and the smart people that have been around him have left. He's just powerful, and he's moving off of inertia and a lot of hate and angst in this country, and racism and classism. But we're not going to dig into that right now. We're going to talk about Atlanta because I want to talk about why he's mad.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll come back. We got another day tomorrow. So we'll come back
Sure.
tomorrow. We can pick up this kind of like interpretation of Trump. But I agree
Yeah.
with you. Let's go back to yesterday.
Let's talk about tomorrow because what is interesting is the trajectory that Kamala Harris is on. And there were questions going into Atlanta where people asked if she would run out of steam. When is this going to run out of steam? I hear that on our side, actually, people saying, yeah, this looks like it's a sugar high is what they were saying in the media, right? And Atlanta blew that away. It completely blew it away. It's a state, again, that we had written off. It's a state that there were questions about how Black people would vote and who they would support, Black men especially. And that rally put a bunch of that stuff to rest. And it wasn't just purely the excitement and the attendance, right? Because Joe Biden had he did that North Carolina speech right after the debate. It was the way that she delivered her lines. And it was about her communication, how easy it was to understand, how salient it was in this moment, how linked to Black culture that it was and popular culture, right? Which are very, very similar. Popular culture borrows from Black culture. Like the word weird, just to recall our previous podcast, actually has roots in Black hip hop culture about calling people weirdos. Black culture generally, especially modern Black culture, pulls out of the younger generations, actually, and maybe even further back, it has a habit of taking very simple words and then assigning new meaning to them, right? So like, the word cool, the word hot, right? The opposite of cool, like these very simple words, like hot, whatever summer is something that comes from Black culture. What is hot? Hot is a temperature. Really, the definition of hot means it's a temperature thing, or it's a spiciness. But Black people turn that into something meaning very cool. This is on fire. So let's go to some of these clips because she kind of speaks for herself. But to say it to my face is probably my favorite. Do you want to start with the other one?
No, I'm okay. Let's say I'll go with the one where she, Vice President Harris, is challenging Donald Trump to debate her. That's the one you're referencing. Okay.
Let's go with that one because that's the one that I slacked our team overnight with this. And I was just really excited about this one.
I'll get there just a second. Here we go.
And you want to start with this Quavo one?
No, okay. I know. No. So she's in Atlanta, and I just want to offer my little bit here, which is Atlanta is the largest rising kind of metropolitan area in this country, in which African Americans are the dominant majority. That and Houston and Dallas are really, really growing areas of highly educated African Americans, many professionals where people are moving to. They're choosing to move there. So for Kamala Harris,
reverse migration. Dr. Tarian Scott talks about this a lot. Yep.
Many from the South left either out of fear or out of just opportunity after African Americans after the Civil War or in the early 1900s, but they're reversing and coming back to the American South for cultural reasons, for community reasons, for professional opportunities. And so Atlanta symbolizes a lot of things to African Americans, and it also has a history that we've talked about of the great John Lewis and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and so many others, and today Stacey Abrams, of incredibly important people. So no more do I ascribe Trump's messages today as just chance than do I describe Harris's message yesterday as just by chance. She delivered these in Atlanta with an intentionality, I think. So here's the clip where she's challenging Donald Trump to a debate.
So he won't debate, but he and his running mate sure seem to have a lot to say about me. And by the way, don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird? Well, Donald, reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say it to my face.
Okay, so this is so a couple of things on this. One of them is
I'm just gonna sit back and listen, man, because this is good. You got
one
good
of the
stuff
coolest
there.
things about Black politicians is I mean, they do what Black people in white professional spaces do, and they have to code switch. Okay. And David, if you see me down in like Selma with Black people, and I sound different than maybe I do on this podcast right now. Um, and that's what we have to do in America. And what you Black politicians in the Black environments, you saw that there's more. She's speaking differently to a crowd of Black people. There's a little bit more kind of familiar, relaxed Kamala that's coming out. It's her body language, it's her hand gestures. And this was written into the speech, but as I was listening to this, I was imagining the brainstorming behind this, because Kamala Harris, like some of her goes into that speech too.
Mhm.
And it's like when people are thinking of what to say, they're workshopping it with their writers or whatever. But that stuff is Kamala Harris stuff. You know, a good writer will listen to somebody say things and deliver things, and then weave that into what they write for them. You know, and try to write in their language.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so that whole thing of like, if you got something to say it to my face, is something that she would have said in the car talking to her aides as soon as she heard that Donald Trump is like, I don't want to debate you. Okay. And so that's one piece, is you got to see more of like natural Kamala in that space with her, with family, quote unquote family. The other piece is that, so that saying is, if you got something to say it to my face. Like that phrase is been around in Black culture for probably generations.
Mm.
And so when she said it, you see her deliver that first part, and then everybody else knew what the rest was. They completed it. They completed it. But it's not like a universal American phrase. It is definitely one that comes out of Black culture, and it's said with attitude. And so she had to add if you got something to say it to my face. Like I dare you to bring it directly to me. And the inference in that is like, if you're gonna say it, like come say it to my face, because we're gonna fight. Like we're gonna be here in person, so that, you know, if you're bold enough and you're brave enough, say it to my face, and then just within arm's reach of me, so I can slap the shit out of you, kind of thing. Like that's what's in that entire delivery. And so it was extremely perfect for Atlanta. It was relevant culturally. It was right sized to her and unique to her. Only she could deliver that. Like they couldn't write that speech and give it to Joe Biden. They couldn't write that and give it to Gretchen Whitmer. Like that's something that like only Kamala Harris could deliver like that.
And so what does it mean to connect it now to, you think it has this impact, this like landing tectonically into the campaign? Yeah. What does it mean that then somehow leads to today's Trump?
So I think that the other piece of it is the pattern what we've been seeing these past few days of messaging. So it's, if you got something to say it to my face. They're weird. It's we don't want to go back. Well, what's the phrase?
We're not going back.
We're not going back. What you see and what you feel, and it's unfamiliar for Democrats, is this is what's called good messaging. Okay.
Huh. What is this?
Okay. Buckle up. What we're witnessing and what we're going to see for the next 90 or so days, I'm looking at the camera. I want you to pay attention to this campaign, because what you're going to see from Democrats is good messaging. That's what we're going to see for the next 3 months. It is direct. It is simple. It is sometimes turning the tables on them. It is unlike any kind of nuanced, scientific, academic, whatever. It's not going to make perfect sense to the most political people, but it'll make a ton of sense to your kids, to your neighbors, to the people at the grocery store, to all those people for whom politics doesn't break through. These statements are going to break through to them, and they're going to relate like that, and you're going to be confused. So just be ready for that feeling.
Okay, so to the median white voter in America, particularly somebody over the age of 40, this information that you're sharing might be known or kind of known, or at least makes sense. But then there's two other dimensions to that Atlanta speech yesterday that I think further accentuate the point that you're making. Kamala Harris was preceded on stage by Megan Thee Stallion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Megan Thee.
Okay, Megan Thee Stallion. Okay,
two E's,
right? Who is what would you say? Musician, really a world famous,
an artist,
musical artist.
They call them artists now. That's what they call them. Yes, I know. It changes every generation. Multiple Grammy award winning, actually, like 4 or something like that. Yeah.
So she sang for a short amount of time before Kamala Harris came on board, and she's got phrase.
She rapped.
She rapped. Okay. She's got a phrase like hotties, which is a thing, right? In Black culture generally, right?
Yeah,
hotties. Yeah. And she said, hotties for Harris. Okay. And the crowd was chanting, hotties for Harris, hotties for Harris. Okay. So she does this for a few minutes before Vice President Harris comes on. Vice President Harris was also accompanied this day and endorsed by another artist, a rapper, Quavo. All right.
Yes.
And so Quavo, African-American guy, Megan Thee Stallion, African-American woman. Quavo is also very well known, a very successful artist. And she gets his credibility, but she takes it a step farther, and she actually quotes him.
Yes.
In the speech.
So we'll show that clip. But so while you're setting that up, so Quavo was a part of another multiple Grammy award winning rap group called the Migos.
Okay.
And I mean, not to go into too much like hip hop detail, but the Migos were like the rap group for a long time. Okay. They're like, they were on like commercials for Doritos and stuff. Okay.
Okay.
It's performing at, Super Bowl or something like that. I forget exactly, but they were the rap group. But that follows a long tradition of hip hop coming out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
So go ahead and play the clip.
Okay. So I'm playing this, everybody, from TikTok. Okay. This is a TikTok video.
Are you trying to get some more credit from that, man? That is, you really are.
Okay.
Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it.
That's good. Walk it like I talk it. Walk it like I talk it.
The joy she takes in this space is something that Dr. Terry and I have been talking about. We're going to do a talk in a couple of weeks, a little conversation about how she's culturally really impacting our political environment in a great way. All right. But the joy is part of this. Like, she doesn't just deliver these lines, she revels in them. Right.
Yeah. And because she loves this, she's able to bring that in. And it's also truly a part of her personality. And it's interesting for us that that is what we gravitate towards And Barack Obama used to do the same thing. Like, he had an easy joy to him. He was super relaxed about things, but he would be casual and he would laugh, and you'd see him bring some of that in. And that is, I think, during the darkest moments, that is what we look for in this country. We forget about the Great Recession, and Barack Obama, he wasn't just his identity. He brought some familiarity. He calmed everybody down, and he added a light to dark times. And that's what she's doing, just being herself. So that joy that she brings when she delivers those lines, when she knows this is going to resonate, when she knows that it's something that is paying respect to the city she's in, and rappers that have really shaped the culture of Atlanta, going all the way back to Outkast, Andre 3000 and Big Boy. You know who Outkast is, David. You know them. Going all the way back to them and everybody in between. That is a huge deal that she would say something like that. It's a big deal, especially, again, with so much critique about Black men and how they're going to vote. And in the country, and also in Atlanta specifically, for somebody like Quavo to come out and kind of counter what Donald Trump has seen as support from Black men. Donald Trump was in the Bronx famously with two young rappers, Chef West and Chef G, I think, or something like that. They're younger than Quavo. Clearly stupider. But they came out for Trump prior to Kamala Harris. And I think the thing that would be interesting now to see is, for those who jumped on the Trump bandwagon early, where they're going to stand now.
Okay, so we're going to begin to wrap this up here. So how does the strategic, what is the strategic importance of Kamala Harris's delivery, her speech, her references in Atlanta do that somehow provokes, our thinking, provokes, either in your case just a reaction, in my case a very intentional strategic blow up by Donald Trump? Why are they two sides of the same coin?
And I understand your need to want to place intention behind things. I think people do that when they get really stressed out, as they think it's got to be for a reason. It's got to be designed somehow, because it can't be that these things happen accidentally. We'll debate later, David. I understand the podcast has gone too long. We'll debate later. I think that on top of everything else, right? Like I said, the money, the volunteers, the people falling away from him, actually. Right. Elon going like, I never said 45 million a month, right? After Trump himself went out and said that Elon said that. And then the polling, and that's going to keep rolling out. The polling's going to keep rolling out, and it gets better and better and better and better. I think on top of all of that, so he's already pissed about everything, his bad choices with the VP pick. Seeing her that good on stage. One thing I will give you is that Trump knows messaging. Okay. He's hearing her say stuff and he's like, fuck, she's so good. He's like, that is good. Damn, that was a good line. Damn, that was another good line. He may not get all the hip hop references, but he understands it resonates. It's simple. It's repeatable. And she's doing my thing. She's doing the thing that was my advantage is now hers. And she's got it with demographics that I thought I had. And then the other pieces, which, to your point about him being a racist for his entire life, to see this Black person be able to have all this joy and support while she's destroying him on stage. And in addition to that, this dude hates women. And for him to have a woman taking him down like that, this is digging at, like, Trump personally deeper than anything that's ever dug at him. Okay. And this is why I think that it's an emotional response, because I don't care how smart or strategic he is. All this stuff about Trump, David, and what he detests. And one of the things he hates more than anything else is a woman telling him anything. and beating him at anything. And she is absolutely beating him right now. And that Trump was up last night watching this and crying. And he needed an extra 30 minutes to come late to this conference today. And he blamed them for starting it late. And then out of the gate, he had to lash out at the first woman who spoke to him. And that's just, I mean, he's a rapist and a predator. And of course, what do abusive men do when they feel like they've been one up by a woman? They find a woman to abuse. And that's exactly what he did. As soon as he got on television, he got a woman, and it was a Black woman. And he was like, I'm going to abuse you. There's no planning around that. He's just straight up evil guy, and he's going to do evil guy shit.
That's pretty powerful stuff, man.
It's
pretty powerful.
But you know what, though? We can talk some more about Donald Trump because we're going to have a lot of reason to. And Kamala Harris is going to keep dunking on him over and over and over again in various creative ways. So maybe he'll get used to it, David, and maybe he'll be more strategic in a month.
We certainly don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but I have to say that this is July 31st, the last day of the month. And
yeah,
what a fucking decade this month has been. Okay. Okay.
Oh my gosh. It hasn't even been 2 weeks since the Harris campaign launched.
Oh, no. It's been 9 or 10 days. And it's been 2.5 weeks since Donald Trump was shot at.
That's it.
So, you know, and then the debate was a little over a month ago. It was June 27th, the debate.
That's crazy.
Right?
And then somewhere in between there, the Supreme Court gave a bunch of power
yes.
to a future Trump presidency. And yeah, man.
So thanks for taking us through some of this. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll see. As of right now, our intent is, for everybody listening, our intent is to talk some more about the Trump comments and reaction, his engagement tomorrow. That's the thing. But between now and then,
who knows?
I don't know. JD Vance might be off the ticket. I don't know. Okay. Because he was asked about JD Vance today.
He was. Yeah.
Yes. And they said, like, do you still comfortable or something like this? You still your pick? And Trump said, well, you know, vice presidents don't really have to do much. That's what he said. Okay. So,
oh man. Yeah, it's a ride. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I will say one thing. We're going to Georgia.
okay.
We're definitely going to Georgia. And we don't know if it's going to be a full team or if it's going to be some handpicked folks. But she made a good case for it yesterday. And Georgia's pulling at us right now. And I think we got to go. I think we may blow him out of the water. And I want Georgia, and I want Texas, because I think we got a shot. Buckle up, folks. Buckle up, folks.
All right.
It's time to go.
We're out. Common Power
We're
out.
out.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Yep. Let's see here.